are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight we are sharing listener experiences. As always, you can find everything related to the podcast at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And that includes links to all the episodes, social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show, and friends of the show, including Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on Saturdays whenever she's able to join me. So we haven't done one of these in a little while. Everyone's always welcome to join me for one of these. But this is going to be a listener experiences episode. So, MJ, welcome back to the show. You've been on before here and there, and good to have you back on again.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah, I've been on a couple of times, I think.
Yep. A couple of Saturdays usually, but doing a weekday show this time. So, so MJ contacted me about some experiences he had, and that's what we're going to get into here. And of course, because it is a big part of this show, this has to do in large part with cats. So if you want to go ahead there, MJ, take it from there.
Okay. Well, like James said, I had contacted him. I had an experience here the past February, March, and April of this year. And it had to do with extraterrestrial, possibly paranormal. I'm not quite sure, but I'd say it's more extraterrestrial. And when it started, and just to back up, I've had a lot of history with abductions happening to me and paranormal and all that stuff. So February 13th, it was Friday the 13th at 8:41 a.m., sound asleep, and there was this very loud knocking on one of my doors. I wasn't really sure. I thought it was my back door. But it was so loud, it startled me, and I just got up, and you felt like there was an urgency to the knock. You're supposed to get up and get to the door. Either like the FBI or the police were out there or something. It was just, that dramatic. And so I got up and I went to check the back door because it sounded like a metal door, and my back door is a metal door. So I just slowly opened it and just inched it out little by little to see if anybody was out there. There was nobody out there. So I walked out into the back porch, nice and clear, calm, everything was good. And I thought maybe I made a mistake. It was the front door. So I went back inside and did the same thing, very cautious, opened the front door, nothing. It was very calm outside. But inside the house, there was a lot of erratic energy, as only I can explain it. And I do have a homemade spirit board I use with a pendulum. So I went on to ask who it was. And supposedly I was told it was a guardian angel, or it was an angelic being that worked with angel energy. Let's put it that way. And so I kind of went with that for a little bit. And of course, the more you talk on the board, unless you have control of what you're doing, the energy was building in the house. And I was aware of it, but I think I was kept numb to it for a little bit. And so that went on for a little bit. And then on, March the 25th, I had gone down, I have a riding mower. I went down to tune it up. I got all the stuff to tune it up and everything. And I came back up to the house and got on the internet. And I'm just sitting there, and I kept hearing this faint meow. It was just, I'd stop what I was watching on YouTube and just listen, no meow. Started back in, faint meow again. I thought maybe it was something in the movie, or there's a cat or something. And about after an hour, it kept happening. I finally just put it on pause. And I got the worst feeling in me. I just got really super quiet. And I just got up and I started creeping around the house. And I have an electric furnace, but it's in the wall. And I got up to it and I just stopped. I had no indication why I should stop there, but I just stopped there. And I started pulling at one of the panels on the wall, kept pulling it out more and more. And Bella, one of my cats, was inside the wall. Now, I examine everything when I do this to practicality.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There was no, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's the best thing to do. Trying to figure out if there's a logical reason for things to happen, because sometimes there is, but then there's not sometimes.
Well, there was no way she'd have gotten in. I
Right.
looked and I was like, the hole someplace? How did she get in? She couldn't have done it. The paneling in the mobile home is very compact or rigid. They can't put their claws in it to climb the wall. There's just no way. And so I'm looking at all this, and she had nothing to step on. It was, everything was clear because it's around from the bathroom. There was nothing. And she looked her eyes were really dilated, and she looked very bewildered. So I just, kept pulling on it. She came up and started petting her. She jumped down and went over and drank a little water and got some food. She'd be okay. Okay. So I thought that was it. Now I have another cat named Gus, and he goes out more. He'll go out and hunt a little bit on the back property and whatnot. And he'll, but he usually comes in during the day. I hadn't seen him, but that's not too unusual. So I waited and waited. And now, remember, I was down in my shed tuning up my riding mower, right? And he didn't come in. So here I am at 1 a.m. It's like, because I started reflecting on Bella, what happened to her. So I got my flashlight out and I went down. I'm looking around. And I have another building. It's a white building. And it's all locked up. And I went down, but it's got a window in the door. And I just, by chance, I thought, I'll go check in there. And there he was, sitting on the floor, just sitting there. I was like, how did you get in here? So I went in. It's like, oh, God. So I got the keys and unlocked it. And he would not let me touch him. He kept cowering down. So I said, okay, I'm not going to touch him. But I left the door open. And then he came out on his own. And he was trying to, rub up against you, but he was, leery. Like he just didn't want to, there's something going on. So, okay, fine. And at least he's out. So I know he's okay. And he'll come up to the house.
Right.
That was 1 a.m. So both cats had disappeared. Both cats were in a place where they couldn't have gotten. I mean, there's just no way he could have gotten in there. And the same with Bella. Okay, that was the 25th. Now, I have another cat named Ezekiel. And we were extremely spiritually connected. Very connected. And last year, he sort of went through this thing where I thought he was getting ready to, die because he started losing the kind of control of his back end. But he was still drinking water. He'd go up and drink the water and eat a little food. But he was acting really weak. So I thought maybe it's just an impacted hairball. Maybe he needs to pass it and he'll be okay. And he came out of it all of a sudden. He was back to normal. Well, this year it happened about the same time, but he didn't come out of it. So on the 20th of April, he just, he'd walk along and his back end would just collapse. Okay. And I pretty much know what that means. So I'm just kind of watching him. And oddly enough, I had my dog and he passed away a few years back. And he made it over to where he passed out and that's where he laid down. So, okay. So I got me an old flannel shirt. I couldn't wear it anymore. So I picked him up, put that underneath him and everything. So he was just laying there and, I'd start doing something on the internet or, walk around and suddenly he'd start meowing. So I'd go over and pet him, so, letting him know it's okay. It's time, it's time for you to go. It's time and it's okay. It's your time. Just talking to him. See, he started to purr and flip his tails and he'd take his front feet like he was walking or trying to knead. And then he'd start flipping his ears. He'd start to purr. But he did this several times in a row. So I thought, you know what? Something's not right. I just felt like, I need to help him cross over. So I went into my bedroom, lay down on the bed, and I did an out of body pretty quick too. And I was standing in the living room and the door was gone. It was just like a white mist, in the out of body, white mist with light blue tints to it. And I was looking at it and I was looking at it okay, this is where he's going. And I turned around and he was right behind me. It startled the crap out of me. I just oh my God. And I flew back in my body, came back, I got up and came in and checked on him. And that's when he was going into convulsions and he was gasping for air. So, he was on his way out. Now, the house energy was building and building and building. And I have a smaller bedroom. And that's where he sat. That's where he slept for 6 weeks or so. He wouldn't come back into my bedroom. That's where he went to sleep. And all these cats are indoor and outdoor. They all go outside, inside. And that's where he slept. He wouldn't, I'd go to visit him in there, but he just wouldn't come into my bedroom. So I thought, okay. And I couldn't figure out why at the time. So all this is going on. And the intensity and the energy in the house was getting more and more and more. It was uncomfortable at one point. So he passed away on the 20th. And of course, you have to let the body cool down. And I buried him. I went to, it's like it was a Wednesday or a Tuesday, 21st. I don't know when the 21st is, but I think I went to the food bank with someone and just let his body cool. And yeah, because I remember telling the woman it took me that, now I get to go ahead and bury my cat. And so I took him out and I buried him near one of my other cats, Lily. There, I'm going to put all the cats in a certain area.
Right.
And I buried him, came back in the house, and I did not realize or even sense how intense the energy had gotten. He severed whatever was in the bedroom, whatever was in the house, whatever, all that, putting a cat in the wall and all these things. Something that had been placed in my house, like a inside man kind of thing, if you want to say, to be in or to keep a check on me. And when I buried him, I got back in the house, he severed all the energy. It was all gone. When I went into the small bedroom, it was cold, and it smelled fresh. It smelled clean. And the rest of the house started to do the same thing. But I was sitting there, and I, sat down. I came back in, I sat down. I'm just, I was having a hard time not processing, but grieving. For some reason,
Right.
I couldn't get into the grieving thing, and I'm just sitting there, and it suddenly there was that energy was gone out of my house. He had taken all of it, severed it when I buried him. It grounded his body. It was in his body. He had grounded the energy through his body when I buried him, and it was all gone. So I'm sitting there, and I just couldn't grieve. I mean, I grieve a little bit now, but at the time, I felt, like I wanted to celebrate him, not because
Right.
he's gone, but it's like, look what he did. And I don't think the extraterrestrials or the energies, whatever this was, I'm going to put it, like I said, on extraterrestrials. I don't think they expected it, because they thought they had something going on staying in my house, because it was just getting tighter and tighter in there. And when I buried him, gone, everything. I mean, the house, I was looking at my furniture sitting around, but it was like the house was totally empty. It was like there was nothing in here. It was just vacant. Type of feeling. And then, as time goes on, it's been filling up with normal house energy, no longer any of the other stuff's been around. But I just thought that was an animal. And I looked it up online. I kind of typed in, what was going on. And the Hindu, it's very, not talked about much, but Hindu have it as folklore. When you're tightly connected with an animal like that, it's and they do something like so, because he did that for me, the other cats, the house, the property, everything. It's just that you have a very high spiritual connection with the animal. Now, what I noticed with later on, it's like you're sort of in a bubble when this is going on my property. And I didn't really notice the other neighbors, but what I did notice, I mean, after a while, I hear noises now, and it's like that even their voices are filling up in the area around, with my house, because I can hear them. What I did notice, one of them has chickens, and the chickens didn't come over for the longest time. It's been like 3 or 4 years before they've been over here. About a couple of weeks after all this took place, they all started coming over here. As I had to chase them back, like I had to reset my boundaries up with the chickens, because they just come over and they feed, and there's nothing over here for them to eat, because there's been such a drought. But it's like suddenly, it's like one of these things where everything's in slow motion, or it stops, and suddenly then the record starts playing, picks back up the speed, and everything's normal again. That's kind of what it was like. And the chickens were coming over. I'm like, oh, here we go again, and chased them all back. But that's exactly what it was like. So it's like it'd been frozen for a little while, and then somebody turned on the music, and the record player started picking up speed back to normal.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It's almost like a more long form or long term version of that whole silence that you hear about when people have encounters with things and in forests and stuff like that. Everything goes quiet, and then they see or hear something, and everything seems to stop. All the nature noises, all the animals seem to stop and be quiet, and then whatever is there goes away, moves away, and everything goes back to normal again. And this sounds like that, just on a different scale, in different type of location, but still similar effect in a way. So that's fascinating. But let's see, I'm just looking at something here. Did I lose connection? No, okay. So I don't hear you, MJ. I don't know if you lost your audio or.
I don't know how it. Oh, am I back? Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Well, what I was saying was I still have some cats left, and what I noticed after Ezekiel had passed away, a few days later, and it's becoming more and more as time goes on, but they're all starting to spend equal time with me.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. It's like, and they're becoming closer and closer to me, to where there's always a cat in the room, or like I'll go to the bedroom. One of the cats will follow me in there and get up on the bed. I'm there on the sitting on the bed, like taking a nap or something. Sometimes I have to do that. And they will want to follow me in and lay there. If I'm outside, they're on the front. They never leave the house. They're all on the front porch during the day or just around the house. Now, they used to kind of take off a little bit, but now they're not. But suddenly they all are around. Even Tatum. Tatum's been, he's the big boy, he's the man. And suddenly he's just all chitty chat with him. He's never been that talkative before. So they're all taking these equal things, and they're also changing in personality. Like something was released for them, taking this away, it also released it for them so they could be more normal again.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's yeah, I would imagine that energy that was there. I mean, obviously it was affecting you all, but
Yeah.
you didn't realize it at the time because you were going through it. I think that's understandable, when there's so much going on there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
yeah,
everything's been pretty normal. It's, everything's normal, and nothing's happened. They did come back I'd say about 3 weeks to a month after that. And it had been raining. I'm sitting in the house, in the house. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I didn't feel like going to bed, so I'm up. And it just finished raining, and all of a sudden, this house is over 50 years old, so it doesn't creak anymore. It's not settling in. It's done with that. And all of a sudden, I could feel pressure on my roof, right over top of me, and sort of the front of the house where I'm sitting directly across from me. And I heard this creaking, like pressure was being put. And then I felt pressure, like, all right, what's going on? And all the cats are, it's winter month, so they're kind of hanging out, sleeping. And two of the cats got up immediately, woke up right away, and they just started pacing the house. They started walking around. And then as soon as they did that, the pressure backed off and went away. So I'm assuming at that point they were trying to find another way in, and I don't think they're going to do anything because I don't think they know how to handle it. I think it surprised them. I think that's what it did. That being, I mean, that was a lot of, that was a massive amount of energy, and a small cat, just out you go, kind of kicked them out, and so I just don't think they expected it. And with all the other cats, they probably think if I would do that, it's going to happen again. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. I don't know, but I look at that and it's like, okay, yeah. And even Jasper, my oldest cat, he's starting to go back outside again. He was hiding under the sink for months. He was hiding under the sink. He wouldn't come out, and he's finally starting to go back outside again. So I think it was affecting him the most as far as the rest of them.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if it's my connection with my own cat with Logan, but a lot of times when I look at her in my mind, I just see her, but like just giant, like massive. Like just in my mind, I don't know if I'm sensing her energy or what, but I just get this image of her, but like just like a big cat, like a big wild cat, instead of what she physically is, and and she's always just sitting there looking at me like, hi, like, what are you doing looking at me for? Hi, you know. But and I've noticed a couple of times I had visitors here. It felt like spirits. It felt like, because I think I've told you this before. There was one time late at night I heard I saw these flashing lights from outside, and I looked out the window, and I had been getting a feeling like the place was filling up with people. And I looked outside, and there was this emergency vehicle in my court. Um, and I went back and sat down, and Logan had been sitting next to me the whole time. The room was filling up with presences. And eventually I noticed the lights faded away, and as that happened, as that vehicle went away, whatever happened, the presences here just started leaving. And then once they were all gone, she walked away like she was all set. Everything was back to normal again.
Yeah. What from that experience, I learned quite a bit, but I look at my cats differently now. I look at all of them like, what job are you doing?
Right.
And I don't think most people in general don't even realize that their cats and their dogs in their house are actually putting out spiritual fires, in the waking hours. And when they're on the other side doing out of body, they're doing the same thing. So humans can go ahead and live their lives and not be encumbered by all the things that are out there. And, I thought about that later. It's like, my God, he was working, triple time, quadruple time to even ground the energy while he was alive to keep it from going any further. And that's why he stayed in the bedroom. He was keeping it in there because that was the first place I felt like it was really vacant. And that's where he was. So that's where he was holding the energy. And then, of course, it got released when, we buried him. But I don't think people realize just what animals do for us. And that's why I think it's more important for people to start, well, I don't know how much you're going to realize it, but being more symbiotic to nature, because those wild animals out there are doing the same thing. I mean, all of nature does that for you, so we can be encumbered and figure out our lives. So most people don't get that part though, but I think in an experience like that, they would at that point. But like I said, it changed my perspective of my cats. They're my pets. They're my babies,
Right.
And now it's like, make sure they get groomed. Things are done for them. What can I do for you? What are you doing for me?
Yes.
Kind of thing now.
Yeah.
It's just a little different.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What's funny about this though is now I feel like I have to take back my whole half joking, not joking idea that cats are aliens and they've already taken over the planet and they have control of us and everything. Because now I feel like that's kind of insulting if they're just regular biological entities, but also still super powerful in that way. I
Yeah.
feel like maybe I should not. Maybe I should lay off that. Maybe I was wrong, MJ. I hate to say it, but you know.
Well, they have to be living on both sides all simultaneously. I think that's why, I don't know if it's why they sleep a lot or not. I think it's just their metabolism. But in order to do that work, they've got to sleep.
Right.
I've got one, Bella. She's epileptic. Okay. And she just had another epileptic fit a couple of days ago. And each time it happens, it takes more of her life away from her because it affects her brain.
Right.
And she's had 5 so far. But she's wired different. She's up when they're sleeping. She sleeps when they're up, and then she's up a lot. And when she's active, she is just, a little crazy. She really is a little crazy. I think she's Aquarius. I'm not sure. No, she was born in July 1st. But yeah, she's just way different. But what I found with her, she's cuddled up a lot to me and Jasper, because Jasper comes to bed with me. And then she comes up to Jasper and me, and whenever I'm around, she's coming up a lot more. I think when she goes into an epileptic fit, I sit there and talk to her to keep her focused on my voice so she doesn't go too far in, because if she swallows her tongue, I can't help her.
Right.
I have no way to get in her mouth with anything. And they usually clamp down. They shut their mouth. It's hard to get open. And it's because I actually, my first job when I got out of high school was with a survey crew, and one of the guys was epileptic. And he would have seizures, quiet ones, or he'd have a, grand mal seizure. He just, having at it. And she's the same thing. So that's why I learned to, and they said when he does that, just start talking to him and he keeps his attention going. So it keeps his mind off of it. He doesn't kind of get buried in it. And that's the same thing I do to her, and it seems to help. But she's becoming more, they're all becoming more attached to me. And I don't know if it's because Ezekiel and I were so strong connected that it sort of pushed them away a little bit. I'm not sure. But I'm just noticing they're all around. And they're all more in sync. I would put it that way. They're more in sync now.
Yeah. And I'm sure they realize what he did for them too, because it helped all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's amazing. You mentioned something when Bella was born and the signs. I never heard of anyone think of that, of the zodiac and personalities as it relates to other animals besides people.
Yeah.
And I never thought of that before, but I mean, it would make sense. I mean, obviously we see, if we talk to people that have cats or dogs or whatever, I mean, they are all different. Every cat versus every other cat, they're
Oh,
all different.
yeah, July 1st, or it's Cancer. So all 5 kittens were born under Cancer.
Okay.
And
Huh.
they're June 21st to July 22nd. So they're sort of a third of the way through. So I'd have to look up
Hmm.
water, moon.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
don't,
just
I don't,
that's amazing to think about that. But I mean, if people can be so different, and animals are also so different, and we see these connections, possible connections to when we're born and all that, and how all that works, then why couldn't it be the same or similar for other species?
I think it is. But that would be interesting to do animal astrology. That would be
That's what
interesting.
I'm wondering about. Yeah.
Because all 5 kittens have a different personality. All of them. All my cats have they're all very different. And some of them I don't know where they're born. They just sort of showed up at the house. But those 5, they were all born on July 1st between 1 and 5 p.m. That's when it all started. And so I don't know even the time when they were born. But even at that, they have, I'd have to see the characteristics of a Cancer, the crab. I think the crab, you step sideways so they can avoid stuff. And they're not really that. They're very confrontational. They will confront stuff, except when a coyote comes around. They don't like that. But
Right.
yeah, I think that would be kind of cool to do people's pets personalities through astrology. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think about that a little bit. But she's so different. I mean, she really um she's a little nuts. She'll come by and she's up on the counter someplace and I'm walking by, she'll swat you. It's like, what are you doing that? You
Yeah.
know. And but when I get up, I'm sleeping and whatnot, she can hear her and she's man, that they've all started to talk more. And they're all
Mm,
starting to talk now. They're all chitty chatty. It's like, they're all sitting around talking and have these the different meow sounds that they make as to what they want.
right.
This type of thing. That's all there. And I'm listening to them. It's like, okay, you want food. They start getting cranky. It's, oh, that's food. That's
Food or
hangry. They're
water. Yep.
hangry.
Yeah.
And so I, give them a little food and they're quiet. And then they go up to the door and look at you and sit down and have this really quiet, really soft little meow. Like I went out the door. Okay, I'll open the door for you. Stuff like that. And they will let you, if the water bowls has no water,
Yes.
Iska will go up to it and she'll pretend like she's drinking and brings her hand and then she looks at you and as she's looking at you, she'll do it again. It's like, okay, there's no water in the bowl? Okay. But they've all started this. It's like, all right, guys, So the communication has been there, but I think what was going on was hampering everybody for the longest time because this has been going on for years, not just, this past, February through April.
Right.
But this has been on for a very long time, and Ezekiel's been around. I got Ezekiel 2 weeks before I moved back to Virginia from Phoenix. 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was going, it's 5:30 in the morning. I got up at the cats, and my apartment was on the ground floor by the front gate. And I heard all these cats meow. Oh, there's a fight. What's going on? And they're, screaming. What's going on out there? I walked out. And it's like, what is going on? There he sat, just sitting there. And they're all looking at him, like, what's going on? It's just a kitten. And I
Like,
picked up
who are
and smelled
you?
him. Yeah, I picked up and smelled him. He smelled like fresh laundry. It's like, this is somebody's kitten. And I'm looking around and thought, okay, come on. I had to go to work. So I put him in the house and he knew litter box. Immediately he went to the litter box to show me that he knew litter box. I had a
Wow.
little portable kennel. And I had a little box in back and, a little water, a little food. Drank the water, ate the food, and then he marched back and just sat at it and peed. Just, here, I got it. He got out and was licking himself. Okay, he's there. And that's how I got him. I was trying to, does anybody want him? And everybody ran from, I literally physically ran from me. Do you want a kitten? Nah, they ran away. So of course he comes with me to, back here. And I have to think about it. And I'm going to have to say that he was placed in my life for that. And I think somewhere along the line, he knew that. It just wasn't a simple little, oh, kitty. It's because of what happened, in April. He was placed in my life to do that. And some of these cats, it's mutual. They're placed to take care of them and feed them, make sure they're okay. But those cats are also doing the same thing. It may not be on the level that he did it, but he was able to get that done. And so he made a great sacrifice for everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought that was amazing because you mentioned this a while ago, and I don't like to pressure anyone to, like, when they say, automatically, like, they say I had an experience, and I'm not going to be like, hey, come on my show, but I've been thinking about that for a little while now, on and off, and that is, yeah, no, that's amazing. Also, a funny thing, Logan does the same thing with her water bowl, but I swear she knows I can't see very well, because she will do that when her water bowl is empty. She'll meow at me and be standing by it, and because I can't see if it's empty or not, I mean, unless I actually put my face down toward it, I can't tell. Same with the food bowl, really. So it's like she knows. She knows I can't see so well, and so she'll let me know. And but yeah, so they definitely have their meows and all that. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and sometimes I'll just talk back with her. She'll meow and I'll meow back at her. And then eventually she'll stop because she's probably thinking, "What the heck are you trying to say, human?" And then, she gives up. But yeah, I've noticed I have not seen or heard the ghost cat here in a while. It hasn't been around for a while, and I don't feel like it's a bad thing. But I just don't know why they left. Maybe they didn't need to be here anymore. I'm not sure, but of course now I say that they'll probably stop by. But I've noticed that. Have you ever had any experiences with ghost versions of animals?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I've talked about this one before, but when I was out in Arizona, Phoenix, I would take my dog out to Deck Park. It's Margaret T. Hans Park. They call it Deck Park. And just walk them around. It's a big park, and everybody's got their dogs out there. And I knew some people, so we kind of get together and take them off leash. And the dogs would stay right there. We didn't want to go to the dog park because they bring in some pit bulls in. It got to be too dangerous because they kept attacking other dogs. It's like, don't bring your dogs here,
Right.
or change your attitude or something. So we would stay over there.
Yeah.
And the cops came over one time and said, y'all doing okay over here? Yeah. Hey, just to let you know, I'm not going to do anything about what y'all are doing until somebody has somebody's murdered. Okay. Thank you, cop. Our dogs won't be doing that. And he was really cool about it. He was like, it's not a big deal. Okay, fine. And so I think he had to look like he was talking to everybody about it. And so he came over here. He was really cool about it. But I was walking over there one day. It happened in the same day now. Same day. It was in the morning. Before I went to work, I was out walking around. And this woman was out there, and I sort of knew her, but she was walking her dog. But I saw this black dog, mid-length on the hair, maybe Labrador mixed with something else, I don't know. And a leash was coming up to her, and he walked around her. But when he got to the other side, like he was going to be in front of her, he disappeared. So I went up and asked her, I said, do you ever have a dog that looks like this? And she wasn't the easiest person to talk to.
Right.
And she kind of looked at me and said, because I just saw that dog. You had a leash holding that dog, but when he walked back, he was going to get in front of you. He disappeared. And she didn't say a whole lot. So I could fine. All right, whatever. And of course, you get off of work. I come back in the evening, and there's a bunch of people out there walking around with their dogs. Everybody's talking. And I saw this dog again. He was going up from person to person. And as he passed them, a leash would come up and attach to him. And then he would keep going, and then the leash would disappear. And then he'd get to the next person, and then the leash would attach to him. Then I think he was looking for his owners.
Oh, yeah.
He was looking for some of an attachment with somebody, and it was never going to be the right person. But that, and then when I moved back here with my mom, take care of her, I was down on Monaco had passed away, and I buried him. And like a couple of months later, I heard this faint meow. I was like, oh, I'm looking for this cat. Where are you? So I walked down the hill to the back of the property, and I could hear the cat right at me, meowing right next to me. I'm looking, and I suddenly realized, oh, it's a ghost cat meowing, and it sounded like Monaco. And I just kept talking and kept talking. I'm right here. I'm right here. And then the meowing sort of, it phased out and disappeared. but it was right there. And I'm looking for a cat that's like, halfway under the dirt, under a log. Where are you?
Right.
I couldn't find anything. And that was that. I've had, I feel like a cat that rubs my leg. You're in the house,
Yeah.
and so I look down like, oh, who is? There's nobody there, but
Yeah.
it could be somebody's cat in the area or one of mine. I don't know.
I
But
had that when I first moved here for a while, and this was before I got Logan. So there was no physical cat here that was doing that. I had the rubbing against my leg, more so the movement of air as it was doing that. Like I didn't feel fur, but I felt that motion of the air that goes by when they're doing that, but like right against my leg.
yeah,
And several times, and then eventually it stopped, and then once I got Logan, it didn't do that anymore either. So
well, now
it's
here's
like it they
I'm
knew.
starting to think at times that even if they've passed away, they're still around. They're still
Right.
doing some sort of work.
Yeah.
And Logan came along and it sort of stopped, so that it took in that spill the space.
Right.
CS came in and took over. That's why
Yeah.
after it happened, I'm like, wow. Um, I just look at the cats are acting different, and they're like they've got a place to be or a job to be, and they're all placed in their area, and they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Uh, yeah, that's amazing, and it sounds like they're sort of carrying on what Ezekiel was had to do on a larger scale, but just on a regular, more maintenance level kind of scale, which is good that they're there to do that for you and for each other, really.
yeah. Um, and I find out later that he moved on. He went to a very high place.
Mm,
Because in the door, I was looking at in my mind later on. I kind of imaged the door in my mind, sitting there, and I could see these light beings coming up. And let's say they had the carcass of the cat, and they were cutting the cat open, the carcass, and peeling it back, and then the spirit came out, the consciousness came out, and it was released, and where he was going was like this just huge area, and other cats were there, but it's their time of peace and rest. If he chooses to come back, he can, but he doesn't have to. He's
right,
at that point. He doesn't have to. And I think it's the same for animals as it is for people. If they want to come back, they can,
right.
depending on what they want to do. But they have a different kind of like job to do, and they're
Yeah,
choosing. And it sort of bleeds into: is that what it's really for us? Do we have jobs we come here and do, and learning, and we have maybe a larger capacity because of who we are to learn what we can, and also you have a job to do for others to learn through you, with you, around you, and to grow, from you. Are we doing the same thing to each other that we're not aware of?
it could be. Uh, I wonder if that's why when people find something that they feel works for them, or they feel like they can do it and it's not too difficult and they enjoy it, is that not necessarily the one thing they're supposed to do, but one of the main things. Um, like I always go back to, for the first 25, 30, 35 years of my life, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Um,
I'm
through
still
school and everything,
there.
yeah, through school and everything, they had ideas and those didn't work out, and eventually I mean, I've always been into writing and stuff, but I didn't feel like I had to do that or needed to do that. And so for many years, I just had no real purpose, I felt. Uh, and then eventually I started doing this, and now I feel like this is it. This is, overall, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's very possible with people as well.
Well, and you take that in, And you start realizing, let's say, I think that's what it is, because they came in to do their job for us. We came in to do a job for them, except for
Mhm.
people who are cruel to animals. And did these animals come in to let somebody be cruel to them, to teach them this is what you don't do? You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't hit right with me. It's just, there's
Right.
something about that. Or maybe they're just pure souls that got caught up in that. Because to me, animals are pure souls. They don't come in. They come in pure, and so do we.
Right.
But humans contaminate them to a certain extent. And it could be in their breeding. Certain breeds are, have certain attitudes, but that can be dealt with when they're puppies, and you're raised. They get more of a perspective through a human that's
Right.
actually trying to help them. But they
Yeah.
don't do it when someone's not trying to help them. But I really thought, I was thinking about how they come in to do this, and somewhere along the line, that's what we do. Uh, kind of hold it down for them, then they come down and hold it down for us, and it's just very symbiotic all over the place. And I've always
Yeah.
been in that area that all things are connected, but this for me took it to another level because of the things that I experienced, during and after.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. And even with the ghost cat here, like it didn't automatically leave once Logan got here. It just stopped by once in a while. But then eventually, like I said, it hasn't been here for years now. And I'm just wondering, is that because maybe Logan sort of came into her own as far as what she needed to do around here? Um, I mean, she's getting she's 14 now this year, so she's definitely not a kitten anymore now. Uh, but and the other thing too with me is I feel like this is she's gonna be my first and last. Like I don't feel like I'm going to get any more. At least I don't plan on getting any more cats after her. Just because I cleaning up messes and things like that she makes. Uh, I don't always find them in time. I'm not the best at cleaning up that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and so I don't. And I know it's not the easiest for her to be with me because of my eyes and everything. I don't always see things that she needs or she does, um, and stuff like that. So I'm grateful that she's here, and because I mean, if she didn't really need to be here, I'm sure she could have just ran off at some point.
Yeah.
One day, like sorry, I'm heading out, bye, and then just boom, gone. But she's still here.
Yeah, that's why it's like all my cats could have gone anywhere,
Right.
but they were attracted to me, and I think I'm attracted to them, that type of thing. I think it has to be that type of attraction. It would be symbiotic to everything. Um, and I think that's what it works. I've been looking up the cat astrology online
Mm,
and see what, whoops, I found Cancer. Because they're all Cancer, and they're all metal cats in a Vietnamese astrology for cats. They're metal cats.
okay.
Yeah, and protective and caring. When I was looking, they practice arching their backs and hissing. Oh, they do that. God, they do that to each other. And frightening. Yeah, it says, and sometimes frightening themselves. They do that.
Yeah.
Emotional and intuitive creatures. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is cool. I'm gonna have to put a star on that. But
Yeah. Cat astrology. We picked up on something different tonight. I think. I don't think we've ever talked about this in this show before. So
yeah, it
that is
has it in here.
fascinating.
But Vietnamese, they have that's 4 different types: water, metal, earth, and something else in there. And the years they do it like Chinese astrology, where you were born in 55, you're a ram, something like that. Where I got
Darn.
it.
So we
So
weren't the first to find it. That's sad, but not totally unexpected.
what now?
We were. It's sad that we weren't the first to find this out or figure this out, but that's not. That's
Oh,
that's to be expected.
well, Ezekiel was probably born in May because he was about 4 months old when I got him.
Mm.
in May, so he's either a Taurus or a Gemini. I don't know exactly when he
Okay.
was, but I would say he's probably a Gemini because they have two different personalities, and he would get super lovey. I mean, just like, can I get inside your neck? No, you can't. And then he would be like, I
Yeah.
don't need you. But we were always connected. I mean, I understood that the independence that he had. But yeah, he was probably a Gemini, May 20th, because June 14th. Oh no, wait a minute, June 14th. No, maybe further back than that. What would be 4 months? Oh, I'd be Aquarius, wouldn't it? January, February, March, April, May. June. He's Aquarius, possibly an Aquarius. Or a Pisces. But anyways, he was very coherent about his surroundings. He knew everything. So it wasn't like a 4-month-old kitten. I don't know what's going on. He was very intelligent, even at that age. So I'm going to say he's an Aquarius, just for him in there.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That whole thing with that one cat, but also all the cats, and I'm glad that. Thank you for coming on to share that. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about today, or is it? We can always come back another time if something else comes up, but happy to talk with you more, or we can wait for another time.
I guess wait for another time. I don't know too much more because I already talked about what had happened and everything, the experience of it. So I don't know. I don't have too much more to go on. Not unless you have some questions.
Yeah, not really. You explained it really well, and I mean, it all tracks. It's just, I'm just really amazed at that whole thing because it made me look at Logan in a different way too. I mean, I already felt like, I mean, I've mentioned before on the show, she's protected me a couple of times while I've been out of body or in a dream state from other beings. Like I'm 100% for sure about that. But even then, that level of what they can do when they are supposed to or when they want to, based on what you experienced, there is really amazing. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, I look at that and it's like I don't know I don't think anything's going to come along to top it. It was so profound at that moment. It's like I don't have anything to, even if I was abducted and I saw the aliens up front and we were talking, Ezekiel topped everything.
Well, just keep in mind, you never know. Just because we think we had the thing that tops everything else, that may be for a while, but it may not always stay that way. Because I had that dream visitation from one of Ricky, from Anything Is Possible, one of Ricky's relatives, and that just blew my mind away. Because that wasn't me making stuff up, my mind making stuff up. That was not. I don't have any relatives from that part of the country. I don't know how I could have imagined someone with that kind of accent, but still different than Ricky.
Yeah.
So you never know. I mean, hopefully it'll be whatever. If anything does top that, it'll be topped in a positive way. Because
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. It would have to be greater than that.
Yeah.
To top it, and it would have to be something so positive, so profound on top of that. I just don't see anything doing that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, MJ, and
Okay.
sharing. And I'll talk to you another time.
All right. Thanks a lot, James.
No problem. Take care.
Right,
And thank you all for listening. And I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.